Hello, my name is Jennifer and I write the food blog Tiny Urban Kitchen. Welcome to my Tiny Urban Kitchen here today. I will be showing you how to make Rice Krispie treats, and not just any ordinary Rice Krispie treat, but we're actually going to be making them into different shapes, very different fun shapes. We'll make a couple animals and maybe some other things. So let's get started. We're going to melt some butter over low heat. Now you can use either butter or margarine. I personally prefer to use butter because I actually think it tastes a little bit better, but of course, you know, if you don't want to use animal products or for whatever other reason, feel free to use margarine. It's fine. Works the same way. All right, once the butter is melted, we want to add 1 package of marshmallows. This is just your typical, 10.5 ounce bag. You can find it at any supermarket. And you want to coat the marshmallows with the butter. So early on, you kind of want to mix it pretty thoroughly. Okay, I think this looks like it's about ready to go. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn off the heat, and then we will add our rice. So once this is added, you want to, move kind of quickly to get the marshmallows incorporated. But you don't want to crush the Rice Krispies either. So, take care in the way that you stir this. There's just enough to get it in. Basically incorporated at this point, so now we're gonna work kind of quickly and we're gonna shape these into different shapes. Okay, now we're gonna get ready to form them. This is kind of hot, so you do want to let it sit just a little bit, maybe a minute, to let it cool a little bit, just so your hands can handle it. But you don't want to wait too long because they do harden up pretty quickly. So these stick to your hands, so there's a couple ways you can deal with that. You can use a little bit of oil, which I find to be a little messy, so in the end I prefer actually to use water. Of course, you want to be careful with the water because you don't want your Rice Krispies to get soggy, but just a little bit usually is not a problem. So I'll do both ways. We'll start with oil. Get your hands a little bit oily and just grab them up. So we're going to make 3 different shapes today. We're going to make little kitty heads, little kitties, and we're going to make a Totoro, which is this. I like Japanese anime, so I tend to make these Japanese shaped characters. So Hello Kitty, of course, is one of my favorites, and I love My Neighbor Totoro if you've ever seen this movie. So those are 2 of the shapes, and then we're going to make sushi as well. So for the Hello Kitty, you want like an egg shaped. Just pretend like you're making an egg. Her head's kind of round and bulbous, so make these egg shapes. So that's pretty simple. I'll make a couple of these. And then my hands are already getting a little sticky, so this is why I like to use water, because it's just easier to stick my hands quickly in a bowl of water than it is to kind of re-oil them every time when you're in a hurry. So let me just make like 4 of these. Let's make a Totoro shape. The Totoro is more like a cone. He's got kind of ears, and he has this longish tail. So what we're going to do is, I like to kind of use a surface here. We're going to form a tail. See, I'm forming the tail here. And then this is going to be his body. And then I'm going to grab just a little bit more. Sometimes you can shape it right on the spot. I'm just going to make some ears. So there we go. All right, let's try that again. All right, so that's one. So grab a kind of a largish piece here. We're going to, again, make a kind of like a cone, I guess you could say, where there's a tail and then sort of a body. And if you have enough stuff, you can actually form the ears directly. If you don't, you can always grab some more Rice Krispie treats. It doesn't have to be perfect. So the last thing I'm going to do is to make the rice part of sushi. Now, if you actually have made sushi before, it's pretty similar. If you make nigiri sushi, which is the type where you put the slice of seafood over the top, we're just going to take a smaller bit now, and we're just going to kind of just hold it in your hand. Just kind of squeeze it. It's the natural shape that your hand kind of wants to make. And that's it. It's really, really simple. All right, so now we're going to actually form or decorate the shapes that we formed a little bit earlier. So why don't we start with the Hello Kitty? So I have this one that I made a little bit earlier. As you can see, it's pretty simple. We're going to take the mini chocolate chips and put them in as the eyes. They're pointed in the back, so it's pretty convenient. You just kind of stuff them in. And then the nose and the bow I actually made out of marzipan, which I will show you how to do right now. You can buy marzipan in the supermarket. It's a mix of almonds, I think corn syrup, and a couple other things. And when you buy it, you can just open it up. It's pretty soft, so you can just add tiny. You don't need to add very much, just a couple drops of food coloring to make it the color that you want. And I guess if you want to make this all natural, you could try something like beet juice or something, but I haven't actually tried that. But I would think that would work pretty well. So I put like 1 or 2 drops and mix it in with your fingers. And It should come out pretty quickly. So there we go. We have our red marzipan. Okay, so let me show you how I make the bows. It's pretty simple. You know, I take a little bit off and I roll it into a reasonably sized stick, I guess you could say. This will make several bows actually. So we go like that. So the bow has three parts. It has a little rounded part, which make little rounded pieces. And then for the other parts, you know, I like to cut off about, I don't know, an inch maybe on each side and just fold it over itself like that. You fold each one over itself and then we just stick it to the middle one. So like, just like that. So you see? You've got the bow right there. Also, the nose is made out of marzipan. Again, you can make yellow. I made this a little bit earlier, but similarly, just take off a little bit and make a little yellow nose. It's pretty simple. Okay, so now that we have our marzipan bow and our marzipan nose, we take our round face, and let me grab my chocolate chips here. So, I mean, you can eyeball, try your best, look at a picture of one if you want, and stick in the eyes. The nose is surprisingly close to her eyes, closer than you might think. It's really almost right next to it. And then, oh no, I think she needs some ears. Let me form some ears here. I think I forgot to form the ears earlier. All right, let's form some ears there. And then we stick the bow on top. And that's it. Got our kitty right there. If you don't want to use marzipan because it is kind of a pain to buy it and color it sometimes, a quick and easy way of making a Hello Kitty is that you can use M&Ms to make the bow instead and just use the chocolate chips for the eyes and the nose. If you actually have access to mini M&Ms, you can try to use the mini yellow M&Ms as a nose, but honestly the normal M&Ms are way too big and she looks kind of funny. So I think it's better just to, I found that it was better just to actually use like a third chip as the nose. It just size-wise turned out to be a little bit closer and she came out a little bit cuter. And then let's see, so if we want red again, we can just kind of jam these in there and right under the ear. And that's it. So there's your kind of M&M version of the Hello Kitty. So if you do decide to use marzipan, one other thing you can make with marzipan is in the sushi that we make, you can actually form different types of sushi. Shape it out and make it kind of like the shape of a sushi. It's really, really simple. Just like that. Okay, so this is our tuna piece. And then we take one of our, let's pick this one. We pick one of our rice pieces and you just lay it on top. And that's it. It's really simple. And yet when you present it with a bunch of other things on a sushi plate, it looks really impressive and it looks really cute. So this is really simple and I really think that it presents really nicely and it tastes pretty good because it's this almond kind of Rice Krispie mixture. Okay, so finally, the last thing we're going to make is our chocolate-covered Totoros. So here's our Totoro that's been pre-shaped. And I've got a bowl of melted chocolate chips here. So the Totoros are pretty much covered in chocolate except for this kind of, they have a white belly. So try to avoid the white belly, but then just try to cover everything else. So I'm just going to try to dip it on the sides, you know, dip the ears. It's a little tricky. And, you know, if you don't get it all right, it's not the end of the world. It's really okay. And, you know, sometimes if you want, you can use a spoon or something, or even use your fingers just to kind of help it along. Get the chocolate under the ears, because this is probably the most difficult part. And then we've got our chocolate-covered Totoro here. His belly is kind of white. And then we just put him down. And we'll decorate him a little bit later. All right, so the last thing we have to do, now that these have hardened a little bit, is just to put the eyes on. So I have these white chocolate chips. They're very convenient because they're already circular. So it's great because you don't have to shape them. They act as a great kind of eye base. And again, they're pointed in the back, which is, again, very convenient. And then you just stick them in there. And, you know, it should stick pretty well. Stick them in there. And then, to make the eyeballs, we take what's left of our chocolate. We don't have that much left here, but you don't need that much. And then just take a little bit with a toothpick and dip on an eyeball. Oh no. There we go. And that's it. I think they actually sell markers that have food coloring, so obviously that'd be another easy way to do it, but most of us don't own such specific equipment like that, so this works just as well. It's just chocolate. And then that's it. So there you have it. Using Rice Krispies, you can make all sorts of fun shapes, and this is just 3 shapes. You can use your creativity and make really anything you want. You can make penguins, you can make cars, in the end, as long as you take it out quickly, you know, use your wet hands or your oily hands, you can shape anything you want and use your creativity, use your imagination, and have fun with it. Thank you.